All right, so for the next section, 10.3, we're going to be talking about intercepts, horizontal and vertical lines. So the x-intercept is going to be the point where the graph crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is going to be the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So for the first problem here, it just says identify the intercepts of each of the following graphs. So all they're asking us to do is, so this here, that there would be the x-intercept. All we want to know is what are the coordinates of the x-intercept? Well, the x-intercept has coordinates -4 and 0. So now we want to find the coordinate of the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is the point where it crosses the y-axis, right there. Well, the coordinates of that point would be 0, 3. Let's see if we can do the same thing for the next problem. Let's find the coordinate of the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, so the x-intercept. The x-intercept is where it hits the x-axis. I want you to notice that this graph actually hits the x-axis at 2 different points. So we're going to have 2 x-intercepts. Let's label each of them. The first one here on the left would be the point -2, 0. And the second one over here would be the point 2, 0. And then for our y-intercept, that's going to be this point down here at the bottom. That's where it hits the y-axis. And that's the point 0, -2. All right. So if I scroll down here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the coordinate of the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So let's take a look first at the x-intercept. Again, there's my x-axis. I notice that I see multiple x-intercepts. So let's go ahead and label each of them. This point right here would be the point, oops, let me erase that. Okay, so that first point there would be the point -2, 0. The next one here would be the point 1, 0. And this one here would be the point 3, 0. And then for my y-intercept, which is this point right here, that one has coordinates 0, 3. All right, and let's try this one. So again, just like the other one, we have multiple x-intercepts. So let's go ahead and label each of those. The first one here is -4, 0. This one here is -1, 0. And this one here is 1, 0. And then for my y-intercept, it's this one up here, which has coordinates 0, 4. All right. So for the next problems that we have here, it says graph by plotting the intercepts. Okay, anytime it tells me to graph by plotting the intercepts, I'm going to make a table, but my table is going to be very specific. My table is going to look like this. Okay, so I'm only going to be plotting 2 points here. And so the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, let's do our first point. We know that x is equal to 0, but we don't know what y is. So I'm going to put negative and then 0 plus 2y equals 6. Well, -0 is just 0. And 0 plus 2y is still 2y. So I end up with 2y is equal to 6. And when I divide both sides by 2, we come up with y is equal to 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 3 right here. Now, for my next part, I'm going to do the same thing, but now I don't know what x is, but we do know that y equals 0. So I'm going to write -x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 6. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. So that's going to leave me with a -x equals 6. I need to divide both sides by -1, and that's going to leave me with an x equals -6. So I'm going to go ahead and put a -6 right here. And now all I want to do is I want to plot those points. So my first point is a point 0, 3. So that's going to be up here. My next point is going to be -6, 0. So that'll be 6 to the left. and I'll stay right there. And now all I need to do is draw my line. All right, let's try the next one, and we'll do it very much the same way. So again, the first thing I'm going to do here, because I'm graphing by plotting intercepts, I'm going to make a table. And my table is always going to look the same. Anytime it tells me to graph by plotting intercepts, this is going to be my table. All right, so let's take a look at the first part. So the first part, I'm going to plug in x equals 0, and we're going to see if we can solve for y. So 0 minus 2y equals 4. Well, 0 minus 2y is a negative 2y equals 4. So when we divide both sides by negative 2, we end up with y equals negative 2. So I'll go ahead and put a negative 2 right here. Now, I'll do this all over again, part B. And in part B, I don't know what x is, but I do know that y equals 0. So we're going to say x minus 2 times 0 equals 4. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, and x minus 0 is still x. So I end up with x equals 4. So I'll put a 4 right here. Now all I'm going to do is plot my points. My first point is a point 0, negative 2. So from the middle, I'm going to move down to negative 2. And then since my next point is 4, 0, I'm going to move to the right 4. Stay right there. Draw my line. And we're done. All right. The next part of 10.3 talks about these things called horizontal and vertical lines. So we'll first talk about horizontal lines. And the one thing I want to mention about horizontal lines always go left and right, like the horizon. Okay? And so horizontal lines are always going to be in this form here. Y is equal to A. Okay? Y is equal to A. So it'll just have y equals some number. So what I want to do now is I want to graph this line, and the one we have in particular says, let's graph the line y equals 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my y-axis. I'm going to go to the point when y is equal to 5. I'll go ahead and draw a point right there. But because I need to draw a line, and my line is going to be horizontal, meaning it's going to go left to right, in my math lab, you're going to need to plot one more point. You can either move to your right, or you can move to your left. It doesn't make any difference. Move to your right as many spaces as you want to, as long as you stay on this part here. Put another point. Or from here, move to your left as many spaces as you want to. Put another point. And there's my horizontal line at y equals 5. Now, vertical lines are always going to be in the form x equals b, where b is equal to just some random number. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and do this one. It says, let's graph the line x equals negative 1. So vertical lines, by the way, go up and down. So what I want to do is I want to come to my graph here. I want to find when x equals negative 1, right here. Let me mark a point. But because this line is going to be vertical, it means it needs to go either up or down. So in my math lab, you can either go up or you can go down. Just mark another point, whether you go up or whether you go down, and then connect your dots. And there's my line, x equals negative 1. So for the next problem here, it says, let's write the equation of the line from the graph. So the first thing I notice here is that this is a vertical line. And vertical lines are always in the form x is equal to some number. In this case, I can see it passes through when x is equal to 3. So the equation of that line would be x equals 3. Now, the next one here, this is a horizontal line. And horizontal lines are always in the form y equals some particular number. And I notice, again, this one is passing at 3, but on the y-axis. So this one here would be y is equal to 3.